Do you avoid buying thrift store electronic items when you see a sticker like this one? Well, I don't. I buy items like that. I have 10 untested thrift store electronic items. I'm going to see how many of them are going to work, and I'm going to turn it into a game so you can play along too. That's on Risky Thrifting Volume 4. If I'm going to guess how many of these electronic items are going to work, it should be an educated guess. So let's look at the items that I'll be testing. Here we have an Electrophonic brand AM/FM multiplex stereo receiver with 8-track recorder, AM/FM radio, and there's a phono input on the back. I do not have any blank 8-track, so I'm only going to be testing whether this can play back an 8-track. But I'll also be checking the radio, and I'll also be checking the phono input. The speaker outputs on the back of this use RCA connections, so I've rigged up a couple of adapters here so I can hook regular speaker wire up to this to test it out. I only have 8 ohm speakers, so I'll only be checking the 8 ohm, not the 16 ohm. Here we have a disc duplicator. These are DVD drives, so I'm sure this is a DVD duplicator. So you load up your master here, and you got 5 bays filled with DVD recorders to make copies of your master. So I'm interested to see if this is going to work. In this case was a JVC VHS-C Camcorder with instructions, and also 3 sealed VHS-C tapes, and that's the original battery, and there's a replacement battery. Not sure if they're going to work. What I will be testing is the camcorder, not the batteries. I do not have a power adapter for this, but I do have some other JVC gear, so I should be able to make this work. And even if the camcorder doesn't work, these blank tapes and this case make it worth the $10 that I spent on this. Here we have a Magnavox dual well cassette Jambox. This will need to play back tapes, this will need to play back and record tapes, and I want the radio to work to say that this works. Here we have a scouting camera. It's in the box, but this box has obviously been opened. It says $14.99, but pink tags were half price, so I only paid $7.50 for it. I'll be interested to see if this works. Here we have a Samsung DVD player / VCR. I do not have a remote for this, but I do have a Samsung remote that might work with this. If not, I have a universal remote. For me to say that this works, I want the DVD to play and the VCR to play and record. Okay, here we have a Dell 24-inch monitor. You rarely see monitors this size at Goodwill, and it was $9.99. It is capable of 1080p output according to the model number, so I'm going to be really interested to see if this monitor works. And while I'm checking out that monitor, I'll also check out this adapter that's USB over here and game port over here. I'll test this out by plugging in my Gravis gamepad and try to see if this works. Here we have a Fender MA10 battery powered amplifier. I am not a very good guitarist, so I won't make you suffer too long, just long enough to see if this works. And here we have a 6-outlet power strip. Usually, if the circuit breaker isn't blown, the thing will work. So really all I'm checking is that circuit breaker. Of course, I'll plug something into all 6 of these and make sure that this works. Now that you've seen the items being tested, if you want to play along, it's time for you to make your guess in the comments. You can say how many you think will work, or you can be specific about what you think is going to work and what you don't think is going to work. My guess, 7 items are going to work. Let's find out. To test the power strip, I've dimmed the lights in here a little bit, and I brought in a lamp. When I turned on the power strip, it lit up right here, this red button. Let's plug in the lamp. And the lamp works. Let's try it on all 6. So the power strip works. This monitor has both DVI and VGA inputs. I'll be trying them both out. Let's start by just powering it on with nothing plugged in. Okay, I have a display here and it says I don't have a cable plugged in, so let's plug a cable in. And I have a beautiful display here in full 1080p glory. Now I have it hooked up with the VGA cable. It still looks good, it's still 1080p. Okay, on the gamepad to USB adapter, Windows is not recognizing this device. I'm going to try plugging the gamepad in again. So I think this game port to USB adapter is a bust. Reading the embossed print on here, it says it's for a sidewinder, so it might not work with the Gravis, but I'm still going to say this is a bust. Okay, here we have the Wildview scouting camera. It had batteries in here and this one appears corroded. Okay, I'm going to plug in these rechargeable C cells and the low battery light did not come on, so apparently it likes those just fine. It has built-in memory, or you can use an SD card up to 512 megabytes. Here's an old 16 megabyte card that should work. I've strapped the Wildview scouting camera to this tree. So far it's showing 14 shots, so it seems to be taking pictures. I'm going to do some daylight shots and then some more this evening after the sun goes down. Here are some of the shots that it took while it was still daylight outside. Well, the sun is below the horizon. There's still a little bit of lingering light left here. I'm going to point my camera at the scouting camera, and that blink means that it's about to flash at me, and it flashed. The trail cam operated like it's supposed to, so I would say it is a success. The Magnavox Jambox runs on 6 D cells, and yes, one of them is mismatched. Let's see if this will play a tape.
Now, see, you can't get that from him.
Okay.
What you need to do now, go straight down this street.
Let's see if I can play a tape on the other side here. This other side's being a little bit nitpicky. It did not want to load, and it does not want to play the tape. Okay, so the left tape well would play, the right tape well will not play, will not rewind, will not fast forward. I'm already going to say this does not work. Let's give the radio a listen anyway. I'm having trouble picking up anything at all on the tuner, FM or AM. Alright, so the Magnavox Jambox is a bust. Okay, let's power up this Samsung DVD / VCR. Oh, I gotta plug it in first. Hey, that's a good sign. Okay, we got a blue screen. Let's try loading up the DVD. Tray opened. Let's switch sources to DVD. Ah, I got an FBI warning. That's usually a pretty good indication. And it seems to be playing. And the VCR is playing, and it even did auto tracking to make the image look as good as possible. Let's see if the VCR can record. I'm now feeding the output of my camera into this VCR, and I'm going to go ahead and hit record. It's recording in SP mode. Right now you're watching from my camera, but I'm going to go ahead and digitize the tape here, and right now you're watching the digitized VHS tape. So I would say that the Samsung is working. I borrowed this charger / adapter from my other JVC camcorder to see if I could put a charge on this big old thick battery. And when I put it on there, I got a blinking light here. I kind of got tired of waiting for this battery to charge, so I went ahead and hooked this up via this power cable here. There's already a tape in here. So this has somebody's footage on it. I've switched cameras from my Panasonic HCX1000 to this JVC SVHS camcorder. I'm using a monitor to see what the shot looks like because it doesn't have a flip out LCD, so it makes it a challenge to frame a shot when a camcorder just has a viewfinder. I'm using the built-in microphone on the JVC so you can hear what the camcorder sounds like. And this is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like. I'm going to digitize it so you can see too. The JVC VHS-C Camcorder works. I warned you I wasn't a guitarist, but the Fender MA10 does seem to work. Okay, I've plugged in this duplicator and now I am powering it on. Now that is a noisy piece of gear. All the trays opened. I should probably pick something that I don't think is copy protected, so I'm going to go with this Popeye DVD. And I'm going to load up blanks into the rest of this. Okay, this drive right here is not blinking. All the rest of these are blinking. So it looked like 4 out of the 5 drives worked fine. I had a different type of disk loaded into that 4th drive. Everything else had a Memorex, and that 4th drive had this. I'm going to try a Memorex out in that 4th drive. Now after changing the blank out, now this drive is working. It's blinking now. So it's somewhat picky about the discs you use, but this duplicator is working. It is good. Okay, now for the Electrophonic stereo, I've hooked up these Optimus speakers using an adapter. I'm using this TV antenna as an FM antenna. Let's go ahead and power this thing on. Here's the power switch. Okay, the radio dial lit up. Let's start by checking out the 8-track. Let's check out Yeah by Brownsville Station. That does not seem to be working. I'm going to try another tape out. Okay, here we have the Best of Eddie Arnold. I've used this in a different demonstration video. Oh, it spun up. Okay, I'm only getting audio out of the right channel, not the left. There is hiss coming out of the left, so it's not the speaker connection. Alright, let's try the FM radio. Alright, all I'm getting is a horrible buzz. Let's try the AM radio. Okay, I got AM radio. Alright, the phono preamp is working, but I had to turn the volume up almost all the way, and it's really not that loud. So 8-track tapes are only playing out of the right channel. FM, I couldn't pick up any stations. AM, I picked up 1 station, and phono is not very loud. So I'm going to say this Electrophonic needs some work. This is a fail. So out of the 10 items, 7 of them worked fine, 3 of them had problems, but 70% is passing. That concludes Risky Thrifting Volume 4. If you haven't seen Risky Thrifting Volumes 1 through 3, those are available on the Risky Thrifting playlist. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Thank you to my patrons for supporting this channel, and remember, stay thrifty, everyone.